Today I'm going to talk about unpopular choices. What are unpopular choices, why, and how do you make them? First of all, an unpopular choice doesn't mean that it's the wrong choice. It's a choice that many might not agree with or have the guts to make because it may be hard or controversial, but you make it anyway because you know that it's the only right choice for you without any shadow of a doubt. It's like when you flip a coin and the side that you secretly pray for just before that coin hits the ground, that's the right choice. You can apply this to small and big choices in life, and it will always guide you to what you truly want. Now, you don't set out to make unpopular choices. It's not like you wake up in the morning and think, I'm really bored today, so I'm going to make me some really controversial and unpopular choices. No, it's a choice you make because it resonates hard with your morals and your truth. It becomes unpopular when in the collective that choice doesn't find support, which can happen due to various reasons. Now, don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean that if you're a serial killer and it feels so right for you, so it must be the right choice. No, not at all. What I mean is that it has to be a reasonable choice, a choice that doesn't cause any harm or distress to any innocent person or party. See, I have a nerve, which I call the nerve of unpopular choices. It twitches wildly whenever I make a choice which is going to turn out to be unpopular. You can call it a feeling or instinct or your gut or what have you, but my nerve twitches and lets me know that the choice in question is deeply aligned with my truth, albeit unpopular. That's become my moral compass. So my nerve is a little overactive and my life has been full of unpopular choices, but I would like to talk about two of them in particular today. The first one is having a child at 40. Yes, I got pregnant when I was 40 and actually delivered when I turned 41. I was blessed with a healthy, happy, and gorgeous baby boy who's now just over a year and a half old. See, in our culture, women have tremendous pressure to get married and have babies in their 20s. That's the norm, and anyone who doesn't follow that norm is judged, shamed, and whatnot. I was very clear from the beginning that I'll have a baby when I can afford to give that baby all I want to, and more importantly, when I feel mentally ready to take on this humongous responsibility. I'd set up some personal and career goals for myself, and I knew that with all that I wanted to achieve, it would end up landing me in my very late 30s or early 40s, and that's when I'll have a child. I was completely at peace with my decision, and my approval is all I seek. Of course, I had humongous pressure, like any other Indian wife from family and friends, to have a baby and stop delaying it further. My mom had given up on me. She had decided that I would never give her the pleasure of being a grandmom to my child. But lo and behold, at 40, I finally felt ready to have a baby and I got pregnant like I had always planned. Now, there were reactions coming in from friends and relatives, which to me were really amusing but can be distressing for most. I was told that I would be a grandmom to my child, that I won't be able to keep up with my child, that my child would be orphaned way before his peers, etc., and many more horrible things. Today, I'd like to answer some of these questions and quell some of these misgivings for all the women out there who are subjected to this and feel hopeless and distressed about deciding to have a child at or after turning 40. I'm a super agile and spit mom to my child. I took my own sweet time to lose my pregnancy weight. I did it at my pace and as per my body's needs. I've come back to my pre pregnancy weight and fitness levels and maybe even better than before. I run around with and after my child. I keep up with him throughout the day and I get exhausted by night time. But guess what? So does a mom in her 20s. Plus, there's no guarantee that children with younger parents don't lose those parents to diseases, heart attacks, accidents, etc. That's not stopping the younger couples from having babies, so why should it stop someone my age from having kids? I mean, my grandmom died at 100, so clearly the genes are on my side. But jokes apart, I eat right, I exercise, I stay fit, and that's all I can and need to do. I'm a great mom because I was totally ready to have my baby emotionally, physically, and financially. Most importantly, when I choose to have my baby is my business alone. Besides, no one can tell me what the right time to have a baby is for me. Only I have that right, and I will exercise it when I want to, and I will do it unapologetically. So, all the parents can go suck on a lemon for all I care. So, all the women struggling out there with the decision of delaying a baby, please don't fret. Having a baby at 40 is not a big deal. I'm a living example and I have zero regrets. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm so damn pleased with myself that I stuck to my guns and followed my bliss. Now, my baby gets the best version of his mama, and we're both happy and healthy. So let's please normalize this and allow our daughters, sisters, and wives to make this life altering decision as per their own timelines and not yours. Support them or leave them alone. Today, we have so many options available: IUI, IVF, surrogacy, adoption. All you have to do is make up your mind and follow through. So, all you ladies out there, I want to tell you that yes, yes, we can have it all. A good marriage, a great career, healthy children, whenever we want to, as long as we drown out all that unnecessary noise of the unsolicited opinions and advice. So, go for it and you just do you. I promise you that whatever decision you make is the right one for you. Now, the second unpopular choice that I would like to talk about today is again something that is taboo in our culture: breast milk donation. Like most people in India, I was completely unaware that you can donate breast milk. After having my son, I struggled initially with a low milk supply. But as the weeks wore on, I actually had to deal with oversupply. Now, milk supply deserves a talk of its own because it's an extensive subject, so we won't get into that today. But 3 months into feeding my baby, I started making more than his daily requirement of milk, at which point a friend suggested that I should start storing the milk for emergencies like travel, illness, etc., which would then not allow me to directly feed my son. But 20 days down the line, my freezer was full and I had no more space left to store milk. I didn't have the heart to waste the milk, as I know that it's full of nutrition and it's called liquid gold after all. So I asked my friends what I could do with the stock that had piled up. I got various suggestions, and all of them are legit, like bathing my baby in the milk, bathing myself in the milk, dipping my feet in the milk because I had some ankle pain. Do you put it in my face mask? To use it in my hair mask? Etc. etc. But none of these suggestions resonated with me, and I just felt that I needed to research a little bit more and figure out something more worthwhile. Maybe donate it for scientific studies or some such. Now, when I started Googling breast milk, I chanced upon this incredible world of breast milk donation. I was stunned that such a thing was possible, the fact that it actually saved babies, and the realization that majority of us don't even know that this can be done, that it's an option. So we actually have breast milk banks in India which store milk and use it for infants in dire need of milk. In fact, for most of these babies, their survival depends on it. There are various reasons why infants require donor milk. Sometimes the babies are born premature and the mother's milk just hasn't come in. Some little babies lose their moms at birth. Then there are other babies in the NICU whose mothers are struggling in the initial days with their milk supply. These milk banks provide breast milk to these babies who desperately need it for their survival. Breast milk is imperative for these infants to reach a healthy weight post which they can sustain on formula. Now, armed with this information, I knew that I was going to start donating breast milk right away. It was a no-brainer. I figured the best way to go about it was to contact a breast milk bank, and to find a bank in my city, I reached out to my gynecologist. She very kindly put me in touch with a doctor in charge of a milk bank close to where I live in Mumbai, and I immediately started donating breast milk. I continued doing so till I was only making enough for my son, which was when he was around 15 months old. I used to ensure that I set aside 20 minutes every day to add in one extra pumping session, and the milk from that session was stored for donation every day. Breast milk stays good in the home freezer for 2 months in my personal experience. However, my freezer would fill up every 17 to 20 days and I would send the milk off to the bank. I must have donated about 90 to 100 liters in total, because one day I went and I saw the kids at the ICU and I realized how much this milk meant to them and their parents, and how utterly important this milk was for their health and survival. And that just kept me going. I mean, 20 minutes of time investment per day on my part was giving immeasurable benefits to these precious little lives. It breaks my heart that there's such little awareness about this subject, and where there is awareness, it's met with prejudice, myths, misinformation, resistance. I was met with resistance in my environment when I made this decision. I was told all sorts of old wives' tales, like the quality of milk will decline, I will stop making milk altogether, I was depriving my baby of his share, etc., etc. Thankfully, I don't care for opinions because I have my twitching nerve, remember? And the fact that my husband is a logical human being who also believed that this was something I needed to do, and there was no doubt in both of our minds. I would like to rebut all these pointless impressions and clarify that my milk supply didn't stop. In fact, it increased. There's a simple rule to breastfeeding: the more you take up, the more you make. The quality of my milk was so good that it not only helped my own son stay in perfect health, but it also helped various other babies reach their desired weight and health. I was storing milk over and above my son's requirements, plus some to spare in case of emergency, so he was not being deprived at any point of anything. There's absolutely no downside in giving this life elixir to newborn babies, and I urge new and potential mothers to donate as much as they can if they have a robust supply. Please don't take this onus if you're struggling with your own supply. There are many moms out there who have a healthy supply, and if all of them donate a little bit through their breastfeeding journey, we can make a huge difference to these precious little infants. I would also urge milk banks to hand out brochures to pregnant women through their gynecologists to educate them on this topic and to remove the stigma attached. Let's please talk about breast milk donation and spread more awareness. I've made some very controversial and unpopular choices, be it calling out someone very dear to me way before the Me Too movement, or standing by a friend wrongly accused, caught up in a blind system, and punished by an unfair media trial, to many more smaller and larger things. I live to not regret a single one of them. Sure, things have not always turned out the way I want to, but I've always been proud, content, and happy to follow through with my choices. On a lighter note, I asked my husband if he had any inputs to give vis a vis my talk today, and he said to design it like a mini skirt. I asked him what he meant by that, and he said, well, it should be long enough to cover the essentials and short enough to hold your interest. So I'll quit while I'm ahead. Wait, am I ahead? No, don't answer that. And let's skip right to the end without any further ado. So, in closing, I would like to say that whatever choices you make, be it big or small, popular or otherwise, please own your choices. Listen to that nerve, make up your mind, follow through, and own it. Take that leap. You might not always land, but I guarantee you that you will sleep peacefully. And when you look into that mirror, love and respect will look right back at you. Thank you and have a good day.